Hey, what is up, guys? It is your boy Speed here, and I've returned. So, some of you guys may have noticed the mic quality maybe wasn't the best. Well, I'm back home. We're back on the OG setup. We got it all set up, and in today's video, we will be talking about 7 spells that people use wrong. You guys really seem to like these videos. I think they're super awesome because they apply to basically everyone. You can learn a ton from them. And yeah, they're just very practical for helping you guys get better at Dota. So if you're excited for this video, I couldn't even speak there, and you want more of these, or you have an idea of, like other spells that are used wrong, comment them down below and smash the like button so I know that you guys want more of these episodes. Okay, let's get into it. Also, I have a quick question, guys. Did you know that gameleap is currently running a 50% off sale? What? Well, I know I caught you off guard there, but it's very important you go sign up right now. It's for a limited time, and a lot of you guys, I know, okay? You're watching my videos, but you're still stuck in your bracket. You can't get out. If you want to get out, click the link down below, sign up, and you can get a really good deal by using the code BLACK50 when you're signing up. So go click it now, and let's get into the video. Okay, so for the first spell that people use wrong, we have Faceless Void's Time Walk. So, in the laning stage, I think people really don't understand how to use Time Walk. It's actually just so bad how people use it. You might be saying, oh, Speed, what are you talking about? It's very simple. Surely the only way you use it is when you take a bunch of damage. Well, yeah, but it really matters what type of damage you take and what you do with the Time Walk. So why am I saying this? Well, people understand the basics of Time Walk. They understand, okay, if I take 200 damage, I can Time Walk it off. And yeah, that's proper. If you take 200 to 300 to 400 damage in the laning stage, let's say they cast a couple of nukes, you're laning against a Skywrath and a Magnus, and they both nuke you, yeah, you should use your Q. But at the same time, people don't have the correct mentality around Time Walk. They always assume, oh, I'm using Time Walk in the lane. It has to be backwards. But here's how you need to think about it. If they've just casted their spells, and you can regain the health, shouldn't you often be time walking onto them? Yeah, think about that. It makes a lot of sense, right? But people don't really look at it that way. And so, basically, anytime you're playing against some sort of nuke lineup, Faceless Void's biggest strength is when he can use time walk aggressive after taking damage. Not onto them before taking damage. That's not that good. If you're playing against a Veno and you're like, I hate this matchup, it's a hard counter to me, which it is. Veno counters Void in lane. I'm just gonna time walk onto him and try to kill him. That's not gonna work. It never does. But if you're playing against a nuker lane or some sort of right-click lane and they commit hard onto you, and then you can time walk into them, then cast time dilation, preventing them from using those spells again, slowing their attack speed and movement speed, all of a sudden have the opportunity to win your lane. So really try to switch around your thinking. I'm not saying every time you use time walk in. No, that's not the correct solution. But if you know they're spamming you, tell your support, hey man, they're spamming me, I want to time walk aggressive onto them. Then when the nukes come out, time walk aggressive, your support should go in when they see you go in. That's usually how people function, and then you'll get a kill. And then it really, honestly, I'm just gonna say from a very mechanical perspective, people just use time walk wrong in general. It's not necessarily because they don't know how the spell works mid-game or late game, it's just that it's like jug spin. Really good players won't spin just because they see a hero. But if you look at low MMR games, jugs will literally bump into a level 5 Witch Doctor who has a long cast point stun, like you can see it coming, and they'll just instant spin. Why? You don't have to panic. It's the same thing with Time Walk. If you're getting run at by a level 5 Axe, and you had a good game, you have like 2 Wraith Bands, a wand, treads, and you're like super tanky and there's no chance he bursts you, don't just insta-time walk away. In fact, you should hit him a couple times, right, chip him down, and then time walk, and that's a really good way to get a lot of value and potentially kill people. But alright, I've been harping on time walk for a while, let's move on to the next ability, which is Phantom Assassin, Dagger, and Blink. I know it's 2 spells, but I think it's important to talk about how people use it wrong. So the first thing that people don't understand, or that they do wrong, is they'll commit Blink Strike first. Let's just get this out of the water. You really don't want to Blink Strike on top of someone first unless it's later into the game, you have an Abyssal Blade, and therefore, you have the level 15 talent, the Blink Strike cast range talent, and you can blink on top of them, cast your Abyssal, and get the kill. That makes sense. But for the most part, like 95% of the time, that isn't the Abyssal situation, or like late game, you really want to lead with Dagger. Not leading with Dagger and Blink Striking on top of someone, it's just not that good. Dagger provides vision and a slow, and that's really all you need for Blink Strike. Now, the second thing I'd like to talk about is people overcommitting every single time. So one of the best things you can do with PA is not feel like you have to Blink Strike on top of someone every time you cast a dagger. What I mean by this is, in the laning stage, people won't use dagger to harass. They're like, I will only use dagger to Blink Strike on someone, and that's not the right mentality. You can use it to chip people down. Even in the mid game, go watch some of the pro PAs. The hero dies really easily. You can't just throw a dagger and be like, yep, I throw my dagger, I have to Blink Strike in, and yet so many players do this. If you think it's not you, you should probably go watch your replays, because I've watched quite a few. Every time a PA casts a dagger, they always feel like they have to go in, and just be careful. You don't. Wait for the right target, kite around the outside of the fights, and actually be an assassin. Don't play Mars as Phantom Assassin. Next up, we have Tiny Toss Combo, and this one is a really fascinating one because there's so many options, right? You have so many options with Toss and Tiny Combo. You could toss people to each other, you can avalanche to cancel a blink, or just briefly stun someone, you can make sure you combo, like all of these things, you have options. Now, how should you look at tiny spells? Well, in the early game, right? In the early game, let's say you have 1 point of avalanche and 1 point of toss in your ganking mid. If they're close to the tower, you want to toss them under the tower, then avalanche to maximize tower damage. If they're not close to the tower, but your mid laner is a high DPS hero and they're going to do most of the damage, let's say it's a Viper, you can actually toss, then avalanche after the toss ends to maximize stun duration. However, if it's going to be a close kill and the enemy mid laner is low and your mid laner is low, you should toss combo right away. See where I'm going? I hope I'm not like saying too much information. I hope that makes sense. Now, next thing I'd like to mention, mid game, okay? We're around the 10-minute mark. You have a maxed out avalanche, okay? Or you're getting close, 15 minutes, you have maxed out avalanche. I really hope you have maxed out avalanche by 15 minutes. I don't care if you're playing position 4, 5 or 2 or 3 or what, I don't care. You better have it maxed out by then. If you didn't, well, you should be taking the tome much earlier. By the way, guys, why are people so bad at taking a tome? Not gonna lie, you know the 3K Smurf series I've been doing? I take the tome like every game at minute 12. Why do you guys not take tomes? It's literally like probably the most broken item in the game at minute 10. Like, it's game changing. It's actually game changing and people don't take it. Okay. Let's get back to the point. Mid-game, you want to combo people. 9 times out of 10, you want to combo people. The only time you don't is if, let's say, you can toss someone together and then Kunkka can, like, boat torrent combo, some shenanigans like that. But for the most part, you want to do your burst combo because that's when you can one-shot people. Then, once the game gets towards, like, the 25-30 minute mark and it's much harder to one-shot people, what you want to start doing is tossing people onto each other. Let's say you have a Sven on your team. You know he's about to pop off if 2 people stand next to each other. Well, make them stand next to each other. Toss the enemy Crystal Maiden and the enemy Skywrath together, right? Toss CM onto the Skywrath, then avalanche them. You'll see people doing this late game, a lot of support tinies doing this late game, and the reason for that is because the toss combo becomes less effective. Not effective at all, we'll get into that, but less effective. So if you have an AoE damage dealing teammate, usually you will late game, then it's really good to toss people together and not rely on your damage, rather rely on their damage. The only time you want to toss combo people is if your team is going for a full out burst. Let's say there's a lifestealer, you can't just toss him onto someone else and then avalanche. Why? Because he'll rage, or Doug, or something like that. So if you're jumping a BKB hero late game, it's often best to do as much damage you can and just do the full combo. Next up, we have Wyvern's Q. Winter Wyvern is one of my favorite heroes, and it's really funny how people just straight up don't know what Wyvern's Q does or how it works. So quickly, let's explain what it does, okay? I think most people know this, but let's go over it anyway. Briefly, the Q, it slows, okay? It gives you more attack range, it slows people when you hit them, and it burns their health for a certain duration of time. We all get that, right? But then what do people do wrong? You might be asking, Speed, what do they do wrong? Well, here's what they do wrong. They assume that every time they hit someone, it applies Arctic Burn. No, it doesn't. If you hit someone, it doesn't refresh Arctic Burn. You guys ever notice in the laning stage that your auto attacks do less and less damage towards the end of Arctic Burn? That's because it only applies once. It only applies once. That's it. You can't reapply it. I think maybe if you have Ags, it does continuously reapply it, but that's if you have Ags. When do you see Ags Wyvern? No one buys that. It's not good. So literally, you want to hit the person once, and then yeah, sure, you could keep hitting them, even though it doesn't reapply. You could keep hitting them, but make sure you understand that, because Wyvern players, I've seen them kill themselves in the laning stage to get like the last hit of Arctic Burn, even though it's like a 40 damage auto attack. It's so funny that people don't know this. Like, but it is what it is. You guys see what I'm saying? So if you're wondering why you watch Wyvern players and they like hit everyone once in the laning stage, like they hit the 4 and the 3, and you're asking like, why don't they just keep applying Arctic Burn to the same hero? Well, that's the reason, because you can't. And even in team fights later on to the game, people will like focus one guy's Winter Wyvern. It's essentially useless unless you have an Orchid and the 60 damage talent, or whatever it is, 50, they nerfed it, right? Yeah, 50, right? That's the only time you like rip into one person. Other than that, you want to hit every single person in the fight with Arctic Burn and burn them. Yay! Next up on the list, we have Bramble Maze. I'm gonna keep this one real short and real simple. All around good guy. You know, I'm talking to you, okay? Okay? You probably didn't expect to hear your name in this video, but I'm talking to you, okay? Why in the world, when you have Cursed Crown and the hero can't escape, right? It's not an anti-mage. They can't just like insta-blink out if you take too much time. Why do you lead with Bramble Maze? Just lead with Cursed Crown. Put the Cursed Crown, then when it ends and they get stunned, Bramble Maze. Why do people not do this? It's funny, I'm not gonna talk about why I'm saying that specifically, but guys, that's the point. Just set up the Bramble Maze with the point and Cursed Crown, which is why I'm really a huge fan of the value point and Cursed Crown at around level 4, or at least level 8. The level 8 value point is good as well, but just use it to set up. It's so funny that people do that. Like, only if they have a blink should you lead with Bramble Maze to try to catch them off guard. Next up is Shrapnel, and I'm talking about Sniper Shrapnel. I mean, this one's pretty easy as well. Well, there's two main things. So the first one is that people spam it. Okay, it's just bad. Don't use your charges in quick succession. It doesn't do anything. Number 2, in the laning stage, people will like throw it on top of the creep wave. No. You want to angle it towards the enemy. You want to zone them with it. Don't throw your shrapnel literally on top of the wave. You don't get the value, because then the enemy, it's just like 50-50 in the creeps. I mean, sure, you get the benefit of shoving the wave, which can be good in mid, but at the same time, it's like putting down acid spray on Elk and just throwing it where most of the acid spray is on your side of the lane. It doesn't do anything. You need to position it where it zones out the enemy, and so much so to the point where you can actually make it where shrapnel only hits the range creep and zones out the enemy. That's like a good way to secure a lot of melee creeps, shove in the range creep. Yeah, the third thing I forgot to mention. Okay, there's 3, my bad. Farm with Shrapnel. People look at Sniper as this like, I'm gonna get a Mask of Madness, and then the only way for me to farm is to max headshot and Mask of Madness creep camps, and I just use Shrapnel. Please max Shrapnel. If you're playing Sniper, please max Shrapnel. It's so good. It's so good. And farm with it. Make stacks. Make stacks with it. Take stacks with it. Bake stacks with it. Rake stacks with it. And finally, the last ability is Anti-Mage Blink. Yeah, you heard that right. Anti-Mage Blink. Come on. You're just gonna say the same things that you said about Time Walk. I mean, kind of, actually. Actually, no one was probably thinking that. I don't know why I even said that. But Anti-Mage Blink, really the biggest thing I see is that people will use it in teamfights without making sure that it's an effective blink. You need to make sure when you're blinking on someone, you're blinking on top of them. Especially if you have Manta, you need to make sure you blink behind them, because then the Mantas will body block and you'll actually get a lot of auto attacks. A lot of people don't even know that that's a thing. Yes, when you're using AM, you want to blink in the direction you think they're going to run, because then they will have to run through your illusions. But so often do I see enemy just blink in front of someone, like literally next to them, and then they just get kited because AM doesn't have a slow or a stun. You have to be very careful about your blink. You also have to be careful about your blink target, which is honestly a whole nother video about how to know whether or not you can blink in. You have to know the matchups, you have to check mana pools. But the main thing I wanted to cover was what I just said about where you should blink in relation to where they're going to run. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, smash the like button, please! I'm desperate. I ran out of Pop-Tarts. Only the blueberry ones, though. If you guys don't have Pop-Tarts, that's actually a shame. They're really good. They're these, like, toaster things, and the blueberry frosted ones are where it's at. But thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Smash the like button and subscribe. Did you know that GameLeap is currently running a 50% off sale? What? Well, I know I caught you off guard there, but it's very important you go sign up right now. It's for a limited time, and you can get a really good deal by using the code BLACK50 when you're signing up. So go click it now, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.